morning. We are
What
live
up,
now.
y'all? Soiree, rap latte.
And I'm King Green. This is Deeper Conversations about hip hop. And we're going to talk about what it is to make you a rap superstar. Like, what are the criterias, which I believe it could be touring, obviously, numbers, and just impact in general. But I got to ask you a question about something. Your
Okay.
boy, Stephen
Why you
A.
got me?
Smith.
Why
That's
you
your
got
boy,
me
right?
going there?
That's your boy, right? Your boy. Your boy Stephen A. Smith said that he would run or wants to run for president. I want to know your
Wait,
thoughts about that.
what? Yeah, I saw Stephen A. Smith said, uh, I believe it was several people on Capitol Hill have been asking for this. First of all, literally nobody is asking for this. Nobody needs this, and nobody wants this. Nobody needs Stephen A. Smith yapping about being president. There's no chance. Here's the problem. You, within the realm of politics, you know nothing. You are not mentally prepared because you don't have the education to understand. Trump has shown us not that ignorance is valuable, that knowledge is valuable, that experience as a politician is valuable. He has none of that. And I know if I said to Stephen A, you are not ready by a long shot because you don't know enough about government and the country, he would say, well, Trump knows nothing. And I'm like, this is how
Mm-hmm.
Trump has made it easier for many people to say, well, maybe I could be president because apparently you don't have to know shit. Trump not knowing shit is not a virtue. It's not a good thing. It's a bad thing. And Stephen A not knowing shit, and I trust me, there is not a significant political education. And I am sure that there is not a significant political philosophy. And if we just started talking about basic political concepts beyond what you should do on this policy, but just let's just talk about, are you progressive?
Do you think
Are
he's
you
trolling?
moderate?
Do you think it's just trolling, or there's like some honest, like, yo, I think I could
No,
be president?
I don't know. Now you're asking me to think into him. I'm trying to take him at his word because I don't. He has not. He's not been a troll before. He's not the sort of person who's like, I'm gonna try to
Stephen A.
buy
Smith
the
is not a
Mavericks.
troll?
As far as I'm going to try to do this thing off mic, on mic, as part of what they do on the show, there is a trolling aspect. Kwame Brown, you suck. Like these sort of things, like the Dallas Cowboys suck. Like that is trolling, but that's within the scope of the job. This is outside the scope of the job, right? This is off stage shit. And he's not normally like, I'm gonna try to buy the Mavericks. So we're like, is he? Who knows? Like, this is, I don't think it's trolling. I think that he really thinks this, but I'm saying I want to call him up, just engage him in a basic political conversation. What do you believe? What do you think is right and wrong? I don't think he could hang in a basic political conversation for 5 minutes. I don't think you know enough to be able to do that. So look, I don't need my presidential campaigns to become a circus where every
They
fucking
already
half
been.
celebrity in the country is like, ooh, let me try and let me see what I like. No, fuck that.
I agree with you. I just don't entertain things like that because it just seems like trolling. Like, Shaq said things like that. Freaking so many people say things. People talking for Oprah, telling her Oprah should do it. All that stuff is to me just like, oh, The
Now,
Rock. They said this shit about The Rock.
Oprah,
Oh,
honestly, I would I would want to kick the tires on that idea. I would want to see like how serious are you? Because I do think there you have a person of education, of wisdom, of thought, a person with great empathy and care for other human beings, a person who understands global affairs at like that sort of level, like in terms of doing a big huge business deal, like she understands high level economics. I would
so as
be
long as you
interested.
cool with the
No, no, no,
non-political
no, no,
celebrity,
no.
you are.
Well, first of all, I have said nothing about her ideas. I assume that she is progressive, but I've said nothing about her ideas. I've talked about her traits, her character qualities, and her intellectual ability and her experience as a human being. right? That has nothing to do with her agreeing with me on any ideas. Just, is she capable and potentially qualified as a human being, even though she's never been in elective office? I think she is. I think there are some like, if you're talking about a person of great experience,
She don't.
wisdom, and empathy, that would be interesting. A person who is
Okay,
just a
we
celebrity
could move
for
on
running
from
their mouth on sports. What the fuck are we talking about?
I hear you. To me, it's all until you actually showing policy, until you're actually doing something and saying something of actual merit. All this shit is up in the air. But when we're talking about the celebrity race, because Trump was a celebrity and Obama became a celebrity and kind of used all that to his advantage. It seems like you need that nowadays. But you could kind of come from anywhere really. But let's get back. The people are waiting. Let's get to the topic at hand. Okay, we were talking about this earlier with Deontay Kyle on Monday. We were talking about there's like no new rap superstars, and people were trying to figure out and gauge what that meant, and it made us think about what constitutes the real thing is defining what a rap superstar is. Like, what is a superstar? What makes you a superstar? We know that Drake, Kendrick, and Cole were superstars. We know that Tyler the Creator is a superstar. We know that Travis Scott is a superstar, right? So now it's, and before them, obviously Kanye, 50, and before that Jay-Z, Nas, all that. Actually, during that time, wouldn't you say Nelly's a rap superstar? Obviously, right?
Yeah, big hits, big tours, big videos. I mean,
Yeah.
like,
And Eminem at that time, right?
of course. I mean, for Eminem, for sure. I mean, the
They're
DMX. I mean, like,
They kind of created the rap superstar. That whole time of Nelly, Ludacris, Jay-Z, Eminem, DMX, like this whole late 90s to early 2000s, that's when the rap superstar, because they were not doing arena tours before, and that's why I hold so much merit at your hard ticket numbers.
I think Jay was the leader there. I think Jay was
The
probably a
business leader.
Yeah, a step ahead of folks.
But not,
getting
I
a
want to
big
say,
tour off, getting a big video off, and like people were like watching him, like, oh, Jay did that. You could do that. You could do, arena.
I
You
wouldn't
could get
say
this.
that Jay is so DMX already went platinum. DMX was going on right before Jay. Because they were great at business, Jay-Z made it the Hard Knock Live tour. It's like, hey, we sold 5 million. We should do this tour. It's really, and you think that you probably can't do it by yourself because no one's ever seen that before. So let's get all these rappers that are selling numbers right now to do this tour. So that's more of a business move and business leadership than I would say with actual momentum with record and all that. Because the crowds and how people were moving at that time, there was like Jay-Z and DMX neck and neck. That was really what was happening from the audience perspective, right? Now, just to be real of that moment, because that's my time thinking about that, and then the Hot Boys coming in and like Nelly and all that stuff. So when I think about it now, to me, you being able to fill up an arena is so important to you being a superstar. Because I'm gonna pay my hard-earned money to come see you, and it's freaking 20,000 of us here to come sing your songs. You clearly have that power.
And to be able to have that happen, to pull thousands of people in different parts of the country, because what they love in the Northeast is not necessarily what they love in the South, Midwest, West. You cut through all of that. You got placement all over, and you got like that. That's a big part of it as well.
We were talking about Lil Uzi Vert. So we're talking about not being new superstars. And I'm saying like the last ones probably came in 2015. Because 2010, we're talking about J. Cole, Kendrick, Drake, the beginning of their careers. And Tyler. Travis is around, I think, 2011, 12, right? Early 2010s. And by the time, 5 years after, those guys, you could already see them growing to that space within 5 years. In 2015, you already have T-Pab out. Drake's already had number one, like, killing records. J. Cole's already had a great touring fan base because that's what he focused on and why J. Cole can do Dreamville and all these things. And Travis was working with Kanye and everything at that time, but still having his live show, his punk rock like type live show. So,
But the good.
no, so I'm saying like those people already showed promise in 5 years. Little Uzi Vert came in 2017, and by the 2020s, he was able to do arena tour. 2023, I think he did like a few arena shows, and that was a discussion with us. Like, is Little Uzi Vert a superstar? And I was like, he can't. I don't think he could do arenas. Then we looked it up through Polestar. Polestar is a thing in the industry where it shows you tickets that are sold. It's how we know who is selling tickets on the industry side, right? I looked it up. I didn't think he did any arena shows. Looked it up. This man has done a few arena shows on his own. If you're doing arena shows and you got hits like Lil Uzi Vert, that's a superstar. And I know that what's his name, Ebro, tried to come at him and say, "Oh, you ain't a superstar." You know what I'm saying? And saying, I think if you've done arena shows and if you have the hits, you've impacted culture. There's people that sound like you there.
Yeah, see that last. I mean, it doesn't fit. So the name, here's the top 4 people in hip hop that you identified on the Polestar touring list: Drake, Kendrick, Travis, Tyler.
Yeah.
I feel their superstardom. I feel
And Nicki.
Travis.
Don't leave Nicki out. She's same time period.
Yes, that's a different list that you gave me.
No, but
You said you gave me biggest tours of all time, and you said Drake, Travis, Nicki, Kenny, 50, and soon Tyler. Those are biggest tours of all time. And then you also said biggest touring artists in hip hop.
As of right now, you have to still count Nicki because her tour was like last year. So I forgot to put that in there.
Okay. I feel their superstardom, those folks, Nicki included, Tyler for sure, Travis, obviously Kendrick and Drake. We feel them in the culture everywhere, commercials, internet, popping up, pop cultural. I don't feel Uzi's presence, and maybe he's on a down swing or something, but like, I don't know. I mean, like, he has gigantic records, no question, but I don't know. I don't know. Is he not in my sphere? Because I don't know. I don't feel him the way I feel like Travis Scott climbs into my window occasionally. Like, I don't look for Travis. I like him, but I don't go out to try to find his music. But he comes in, even though I don't necessarily check for him, because he's so prevalent that through video, through TikTok, through something, he's going to let me know I got something else to say to you musically. Right? He shows up in the Grammys. Mm-hmm. He shows up at SNL. I'm like, I can't get away from Travis happily, but like, Uzi don't do that. You know, Megan seems to chase me down the street. Tyler, right? He keeps popping. I can't get away from this nigga. If it's not a new video, it's him with Nardwuar, or it's an article about him or something. Uzi, and I bet we could name a couple people, don't quite do that to me. Maybe they do it to
Do you think Cardi does that? I think Cardi's the last.
Playboy Cardi?
I think there's a class. Cardi.
B?
Playboy Cardi. Cardi B doesn't drop enough, but she's clearly a freaking superstar. We kind of forgot her too. But
Cardi
she doesn't.
B is definitely a superstar.
She's definitely a superstar, but she don't be touring and all that. But she's definitely a superstar. She's like a superstar beyond music, though. You know what I'm saying? She's she's kind of like transferred her stardom to just being.
Yes. Is Playboy Cardi? He doesn't hit my world. All the things that I'm talking about. If
I told you about him.
No, I know, but if I stop thinking about him, he's probably not. He may be I think his appeal and his fan base is younger than
very much
I can reach. Whereas Travis's fan base stretches wider. You know what I mean? Like, he stretches age-wise. He's a wider fan base. 15-year-olds might fuck with Trav, but 40-year-olds might also fuck with Trav.
3,000%. No, I agree with that. But I feel like over time, Cardi, I mean, this album was his way to try to creep into that place where you're getting maybe more of a larger fan base with different age brackets.
But let's take them deeper with this. If the subset is Drake, Kenny, Travis, Tyler, Nicki. what are these people doing and bringing to the table that elevates them to the top level of touring artists in the game?
Number one thing that 100% agree with this: albums. Albums. I think they are delivering albums to their fan base, which to me, albums is just communicating to your fan base and cultivating your fan base with a project, a body of work, some piece of art. I don't think that the focus of albums and connecting to your fan base through your art is happening with a lot of the newer artists, where they're not hey, this is their first album, this is their second album, this is their third album. They're thinking about, I like this song, this is a great song, that was a great song. Because that class of could have been superstars, which is Pop Smoke, Juice World, XXX, Cardi, who was in that class, but he came out of it, and Uzi, I think, was right before it. The other question I'm going to ask you, do you think, actually, before I say that, don't forget to like this video if you're watching right now, but the Lil Yachty. Is Lil Yachty a
He's gonna lock
superstar?
doors, y'all. Watch out. Watch out.
Is Lil Yachty a superstar?
That's a tough one. Could Yachty do an arena tour? Doubtful.
He can't. No, he can't. No, like I know he can't.
Can't.
He's on Tyler's right now.
Does Yachty have it factor? Does Yachty like make hits? Does he make records bigger? Does he win records over, like a collab record, a three-way record, like over and over and over? He's a pop cultural star. His Q rating is higher than what it should be as far as, what you're doing for streaming and things, but the charisma is off the charts. I want to say yes, even though I guess the mechanical thing of like, could you drop an album and it go number one right away? No. Could you?
That doesn't mean anything.
Could you headline an arena tour? No. But Yachty, of all people, I was in Atlanta doing the Rolling Stone cover story on the Migos, right? Years ago, all three of them were at the photo shoot. And the photo shoot, as a writer, you kind of lay back because the guys are kind of busy and changing and working with the photographer. But you can be there and still pick up color and vibes and stuff. And these four guys walked in, and I didn't know who they were. I had never heard of Lil Yachty, and they didn't introduce themselves. And they were just four niggas who just came in. There was no trumpeting. There was no introduction. But somehow Yachty, who I did not know, seemed to have this energy. The Keith Haring Radiant Baby? He seemed like that. He had like the lampshade beads, but it's just, and I was like, who's that? And there was really no reason to say who's that as opposed to the other three brothers he was with. But I saw it. I saw the it factor before I had never even heard Minnesota. And this nigga at their
Cold like Minnesota.
At their photo shoot, he took out their CD and put in his own. And Quavo was like, "What are you doing, nigga?" And it's like, it was very much like, he's our little brother and he can get away with shit like that. Like other people would get beat up for shit like that. And like, it's just Yachty, whatever. He's playing his music, like, let him go. So it was accepted and it was fun. And then I went home and listened to Minnesota. I'm like, oh, this nigga's out of here. This is insane. That record was crazy. His early
He had the I Spy crazy. With my little eye. That shit went crazy. He was like the big feature and the big pop feature. I don't think he's a superstar in the regards that we're talking about right now. And we got a super chat from K-Way. He says, superstar equals the ability to impact and transcend generations and races through different avenues of entertainment, music, movies, fashion, TV, etc. And then he caveats it with aura. That's that aura. But I agree with that. Like, it's transcending these spaces. And I don't think Lil Yachty has transcended so many spaces, but I also think it has to stick. Just because you are also, just because you can't do an arena tour now, like you're talking about Louis Vert, you're not thinking about him, but you were thinking about him when he was hot, like when he was super hot. Same thing with Nelly. Like you don't think about Nelly every day, but you can't say that Nelly wasn't a superstar. You know what I'm saying? So I
mean,
think
I think partly what we see in the superstars is they become almost like senators in that they seem to be representing the people, or at least a segment of the people. I know there were people in St. Louis in the Midwest who were like, Nelly reps for me. He dresses the way I dress. He talks the way I talk. He affirms me. He makes me feel good. Meg does that for women, for sisters all over. If you are like, and this is a notion of having a movement, I represent the people. I symbolize something. I am more than just a person making records, but like you come to the show as to a political rally because it will affirm you and your worldview and who you are. And then that to me gets to what K-Way was talking about, transcending the musical relationship into like, I represent you. And then people are like, I love you and I'll follow you anywhere.
that's fact. I get that. Do we feel that way? Then thinking about that, do we feel that way about Nelly? Was he that?
Not to me, because I'm a New Yorker, but to his fans.
Okay, you're saying just to have any base, whatever your base is, if they're following you in that way.
Yes, every single person. If you get to multi-platinum level, everybody is not necessarily like that. Although, but you're going to have a large portion of the audience saying that person is like me, or they are like what I would like to become. And so they represent something of me. It doesn't have to be everybody in your fan base. And I was not a Nelly fan. I was a Jay-Z fan. And Jay-Z represents to me part of what the intelligent New Yorker is all about. So I'm like, that's my tribe. I'm not street. The street nigga, see, that's the brilliance of Jay. Multiple audiences were like, that's my nigga. Right? I'm like, yo, smart New Yorkers, that's what's up. Street niggas was like, yo, that's what's up. Like, there's other sorts of people who are like, yeah, Jay speaks for me. Guys who care about money, all those finance guys. Oh my God, they love Jay-Z. So all the white finance bros. Oh my God.
Jay-Z spoke that hustle, money hustle music, that just motivational music. It was motivational. And if you applied it to money, which he did too, that's what it worked. But I want to say, Nelly, I did a poll. People think that he's a superstar. They didn't think Yachty was a superstar. I think a lot of people don't value artists anymore either, says Kawaii. I pinned that one because I agree with that too. I do think the consumer doesn't value music in the same way, but I still think music plays the same part in people's lives that it did since the beginning of time. It still plays the same part. How you get it and how you value it doesn't, I think it does affect how superstars are made, but I think it's on the artist and the machine and or infrastructure behind it how that really happens. There's a reason why Doechii is the first person I'm looking at, other than Megan Thee Stallion, since she did drop her first album in 2020. In the 2020s, that is gonna be a superstar. So Megan Thee Stallion, clearly, she did arenas within 5 years, right? She's kind of it. There's no male version of that. And the next version of that is Doechii. And you can put Doja Cat in there too as well. But I think Doja Cat's been around since 2013. So I don't want to give her, Doja Cat's been around for a hot minute. Megan kind of came 17, 18, first album 2020.
Doja Cat a rapper?
Doja Cat is a rapper to me because she be rapping. You disrespectful.
No. See, this is not like Drake.
We passed the 20-minute mark, so she's a fucking rapper.
No, but this is not like Drake, where I'm like, the nigga's rapping is terrible. This is like I don't think she's rapping. I think it's syncopated singing. Where does it get to be rapping where she's spitting?
She raps. She has a whole album where she raps. You just don't listen to her. She has a whole album she dropped where she raps.
Doja Cat is one of those artists also like Travis who comes in through the window. She got hits that I'm like, I didn't even know that was her. There were at least 5 huge hits that I knew at one point, I think last year or the year before. And I'm like, I didn't know that she had all these records, that all these records were her. I thought there was 5 different artists.
She's very
she,
versatile.
she makes hits. I love her
Yeah.
voice.
She's
Does she have a hit where she's rapping, not the syncopated singing shit she does, but the rapping?
yes. If you call
Shit,
all these
I
trap
said
artists
what I
rappers,
said. I'd rather be famous instead. That's not rapping. That's syncopated
that's
singing.
lie. That's you. Now I just don't fuck with you like at all. Like we could fight. We could go outside.
That's
We could
rapping.
fight. Like
That's all I have to do to be rapping.
there's nothing
Then
different from
I
her.
said
Is
what I
Travis Scott a
said.
rapper? Is Travis Scott a rapper? Because I can say the same shit about that. What are you talking about? This nigga just be like, straight up. Everything has a melody. Everything has a tone in his voice. Travis Scott's not a rapper then. There's so many people who are melodic rappers. You can't take away it because she's a female. She's a woman.
No,
You don't.
It's nothing to do with gender. It's nothing to do with gender.
I know. I'm just talking
entire-
shit to get people mad at you.
Entire vibe, and maybe this doesn't split the atom for you, but Travis culturally, I was like, he lives in a hip hop context. This is hip hop music, even though he's on the punk 808, edge of things, right? But like this is, but yeah, he's not rapping. Future is not rapping like that. I mean, like, has nothing to do with gender. It's like that. Like,
Of course,
yeah,
it
like
has nothing
all
to
of
do
them
with
are
gender.
like-
I would hope it doesn't have anything to do with gender, but I'm just
No,
saying
but all
she
three of-
is.
all three of them are really pushing the edge of like, are you rapping? Like,
I don't
where's
think
the
so.
rapping? Paint the town red. Like, hold on. Can I
That's
play
like
this
saying, like,
song? Can I play this
Not
song
really,
right now?
but not really. You can play. You can play 2 seconds. Give it 2 seconds.
No. I don't fucking.
No, the
I
2
don't
seconds
know.
shouldn't be going. But you do. We ain't trying to get hit up. 2 seconds wouldn't be bad.
I'm
But
not trying to. It's not hating. I like her, but then it's like,
I'm gonna ask the chat. You know I love my polls. Poll time. Doja Cat is Doja.
bitch, I said what I said. I'd rather be famous instead.
I think that's disrespectful.
To hip hop?
Not to hip hop. To say, well, yeah, rapping is rapping. All of that is rapping. There's melodic rapping is rapping. So now when you put some melody to it, you are not a rapper, or because you come from a different place, you didn't rap. It's you asked. The real question is, you said, is she a rapper, or did you ask, does she rap? What's the question? Because she clearly raps.
Clearly.
No,
Clearly
it's
he's doing a
clearly
lot of work in that
it's
sentence.
clearly rapping. It's like
Clearly
looking at
doing a
Rage
lot
Against
of
the
work.
Machine. It's like looking at Rage Against the Machine and saying Zach De La Rocha never raps on the tracks because he comes from a punk background. That's the same thing. That's literally like the same thing. It's like, oh, this guy's on this different type of music. That ain't rapping.
The next show will be about Lin-Manuel Miranda, top 5 rapper of his generation.
Now don't. What are you talking about?
Lin-Manuel Miranda, that's my nigga right there.
I hated Hamilton. That shit sounded like a after school special. Like the rapping in Hamilton. I respected it. I never really said that publicly because I was like, I respect the fact that you put this on that platform and there was people, intricate writing and all that stuff. But I'm listening to this like, this shit sucked. This is trash. It sounds like after school special rapping.
Wait, is that? I don't want to get too far off the subject, but did you
It's all
see
the
Slave
subject.
play?
Who?
Did you see Slave play?
Say that name again.
Slave play.
What's the first word in there?
Slave.
Don't watch it. I don't watch it.
Dog.
Not in my purview.
Look.
Unless you tell me it's really good, I ain't watching it.
Oh no, this was like incredible. This is like
Okay.
play, like theater phenomenon of the year when it came out, like off the charts, insane. Okay, so to your larger point, a movie about slavery. I am not going. I've seen that. I am not seeing that again. I'm good. And partly a movie also is very immersive. The lights are off. The whole thing seems to try to engulf you to make you think you are in the situation, right? You watch a movie and somebody breaks up and you cry. Why are you crying? They are two-dimensional people on a screen, but like you are immersed in the movie. A play is a little bit different to me. I know that they're pretending. I can see them. I can hear them, right? But slave play. So I may be brought in, but I'm not going to be brought into the dream of the art 1,000% the way the movie does, right? Follow me. Slave. So there's a tiny bit of I don't fall all the way in. Okay. Slave Play by Jeremy O. Harris, who's one of the new superstars, black superstars of playwriting and artistic creation in general. He created a piece that is about, it's hard to describe. I believe it's 3 different interracial couples are exploring their relationship in a therapy context through slave play, through sexualized play, role play that pulls from slavery in one way or another. Yes.
That's crazy.
And this is a crazy thing that some people do. It's freaking nuts, but some people do it.
That's the craziest thing.
But we're witnessing scenes where couples are acting different things out, which becomes very cathartic, especially for the black people, and very uncomfortable for some of the white people. And then they're talking about what they're experiencing and the whole thoughts. And like, you think about the trauma that some of us have from slavery, like that is part of what the play is about. So it's about exorcising that part of our past rather than embracing it. Like I think, and Janelle Monáe's movie didn't embrace it, but it was way too cozy, right? With friggin' the time that we were watching her be enslaved.
Was that Antebellum one?
Yeah. It was way too much. Slave Play is extraordinary, and if you said you didn't like Hamilton,
it's on Broadway.
Yeah, it's not playing now. It's not playing now. You might be able to catch it on TV, maybe, but I don't know. But like, if you're into, let's say, more aggressive theater than the more traditional stuff, like this is like one of the kings of the modern era. But there's no rapping.
Ain't no rapping. We're already winning right there. Like someone said it in the chat. This is completely my sentiment. I'm looking at Slave Masters rap. I'm good. I'm freaking good.
Let me double check this. To be on this list of top performing rappers, you got to be really good on stage. You got to put together a good stage show, right? I know Travis does. I know Tyler does. I've seen the Kung Fu Kenny thing. I haven't seen Nicki. I haven't seen Drake in a long time. And when I saw Drake, it was early career and it was boring. Is Drake a good performing artist? Is Nicki a good performer on
Nicki's
concert stage?
I don't think you have to be a great performer, especially if I'm looking at it, to be a superstar. I don't think that's a prerequisite because I think there's a subjectivity to that. I think you need to put butts in the seats. Because just because I don't like it doesn't mean that people are not going to pay $500 just to see the sweat drip off your face. That means you have something that they want to see. So I'm not putting it as you actually having the capability of being a great performer.
But all these people have toured before.
Yeah.
Right? So you as the fan know the vibe. You know what they do. You know they come with Beyonce is going to come with lots of thoughts and lots of costumes and lots of
but Beyonce is a great performer, one of the greatest performers of all time. There is a certain place where those people live where, like you said, there's millions of people that want to see Jay-Z's show, and I would see one now if he came back, but you don't like Jay-Z's show.
That's what I'm saying. That I am a huge.
So, but he's a superstar. But Jay-Z's not a superstar. So you don't need to be good at performing from your own measurement.
No, but I don't know if he was in this list in his day. I have no idea. But
yeah, he was Polestar. Yeah, he was the
He
number
was a
one.
top five
He
because
was
he
the
was
number one rap tour ticket seller
was
in
he?
like 2011, I think. I'm pulling that number off the top of my head. So someone could pull it up for me, but he's number one. So, and then he did that huge deal with Live Nation. He was the
I knew
ticket
that, yeah.
driver. So if he's the ticket driver and the number one guy, and you don't think he's a good performer, he's still a
No.
superstar. You know he's a superstar though. So that means that you don't have to be good at performing to be a superstar. You just need to put butts in the seats.
I don't think one example ever proves the case. I think Jay-Z was able to do enough clearly for his fans, and the it factor and the charisma took him a long way because he was big on standing there with relatively little going on behind him. And in a world where I saw the Zooropa tour, I saw Madonna do insane shows, I saw Kanye put a lot of thought and effort into the stage and the backdrop.
Hell
and
yeah.
I saw Kanye, I think on the third album. What was the album where they were like,
Graduation.
where he's, yeah, right? Where he's talking about spaceships?
Graduation.
He had
A narrative with the spaceships.
a black stage that was edged toward us, not flat, but like so you and the backdrop screen would indicate we are flying to another planet. Now we have landed on another planet and we do the song on another planet and then we go fly to another. So the whole thing, you only saw him the whole fucking time. And it was this whole narrative that wasn't just we're doing song, but we are traveling through I'm like, that shit was incredible.
I'm so mad I never went to that show and everyone told me how great it was. And he he was supposed to do a live documentary of it, but scrapped it. Pissed me off.
You know, I mean, and he's done incredibly thoughtful, amazing shows before. And then here comes Jay, just standing there doing the records. He don't dance. Nothing is going on really behind him.
Yeah, I think these people have upped the super. There is nothing before Jay except for Busta Rhymes and Ludacris was a great performer too at his time, but there is nobody filling up those seats before Jay, and Jay-Z's not that person, right? So someone like Kanye could see Jay-Z and be like, oh, well, let me bring actual theater to this. Let me bring real performance into this space. And he was the first one that actually kind of was capable because Kanye went on tour with U2. You seeing U2 do stadiums, you're doing a stadium tour with U2, you're going to come out there with some like, hey, I got to step this shit up because I just was on this tour with U2. Do you know what U2's doing? Like, U2 played that Vegas Bowl and had like the craziest shit in that Vegas shit. Yeah, the Sphere.
U2 was they were revolutionary as far as how do we take the modern era of performing to a different level. And they would have this gigantic screen behind them that would do all kinds of video shit that would blow your retinas out. And it was like, this is an entirely different visual experience. Like that shit was extraordinary.
Yeah, that shit's crazy. And someone, we got another super chat. Have y'all ever seen Kendrick live or going to? I got paid by Amazon to go see Kendrick on his Mr. Morale tour.
Okay.
Superb. He had 5 days in Los Angeles. And then here's the thing. I saw Kendrick at South by Southwest in like one of his first South by Southwest. Shit was trash. It was his first freaking. I was like, this is trash. I was like, everybody's talking about Kendrick. I think it was right before his album, his Good Kid, Mad City album came out. Everybody's talking about Kendrick. You know, it's blog era where you know the next person coming up. If you're on the blogs, you knew who was coming up. And people talking about Kendrick. I go to it. I was like, I left. It was like 3 songs in. I was like, this kid does nothing for me. Let me go eat some barbecue. But let me say, then his album came out. So now I'm a fan. Then I see him. I see videos. So I haven't seen him live since his first, before Good Kid, Mad City. Then I see him on Mr. Morale tour, this nigga's playing the piano, not intricately, but he's playing the piano. He has a puppet on stage while he's rapping, and the puppet's rapping. He's coordinated with the dancers, coordinated with the shadow. It's narrative, it's emotional. This nigga is next level. He brought theater to the fucking stage, and he did it 5 times in a row. And I think I saw 1 or 2 of them. This shit is impeccable. And to see that growth, Kendrick is in the top there with the elite rap performances for me.
Yeah, for sure. I saw him when he was doing the Kung Fu Kenny stuff. So it was a lot of that Bruce Lee, yellow and black, the Chinese suits, all that sort of stuff. And the precision dancing and the theme of having that sort of Bruce Lee style dance come out alongside him, but it was mostly him alone on the stage for the 2 hours, and it was clear, like, we were clearly thinking about theme, about the visual impact, about minimalism, but still having a big impact on the audience. It was an extraordinary show, and I was there. It was at the Barclays. I interviewed him, and then he did the show, and it was extraordinary. And I was like, this is an extraordinarily high level performer. And Kendrick has a way that Jay-Z does not, that Nas does not, that a lot of people do not, that he can incorporate dance but still remain cool and not have it seem like, oh, he's dancing. Because most rappers don't, they struggle with dance. Like R&B singers, like, will dance, it's no problem. But in hip hop, like, naturalized, like, yay, this beat is great, fine.
Tyler dances.
But you gotta have, it's like your masculinity is at risk every time you start to do a stylized dance. And like, right? And like Kenny can do it.
I think that's a weird thought process. Dancing is dancing. I think if you look like you think dancing is emasculating, then you look weird. But the reality is, obviously, dancing is not emasculating. That makes no damn sense. That's a crazy idea. But if you look like that on stage, like, my niggas don't dance, we just do this, right? Like, you look weird if you try to dance because you think it's.
There's a whole generation of rappers who are like.
I don't think there's a whole generation. I think there's.
Little two-step. I'm not friggin'. Rakim, don't dance.
Big Daddy Kane, Kwame. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But hip hop started with dancing. I'm saying hip hop started with dancing. Yeah. So those people came in because they came from a whole different.
DMX, no dance. KRS-One, no dance. Like,
no, but you're just picking rappers that don't dance.
I'm naming the stars of a whole generation, which is before the 90s era when it was more performative. There was like all the stars from 85 to 95 were like, we don't dance. We are serious rappers. Like Chuck D. Like they weren't dancing then. They weren't dancing then. We had to become.
When was Big Daddy Kane? When was Big Daddy Kane?
80s.
He was dancing.
He had a little dance to him.
No, a lot. What are you talking about? Big Daddy Kane was dancing. What are we talking about?
He's up there with KRS-One, what fucking Slick Rick, Rakim. Oh my God. There's no dancing. What?
Yeah, old school niggas. Anyways, I think that's just an old school idea and an OG idea of a weird thing with that the masculinity shit when it comes to dancing. Because I don't have that shit because I've seen so many people outside do that. So I don't even think about that. But I'm saying Tyler, the Creator, completely dances and he's an arena tour artist.
Yeah, I mean, Tyler, the Creator, obviously has a different...
Toby Nwigwe, who's a family man.
Right, you're talking about modern. Tyler has a different relationship with masculinity, purposefully, than all the people we're talking about. It's part of his appeal. I talked about this once with a guy who was in the streets, like heavy, like his, like he like everything you could do in the streets. I did that at some point. Okay. And we talked about how obviously the drug dealer has been a massive impact on the culture. Perhaps one of the most influential people on rappers, not just the way they dress, but the way they behave. And especially that crack era dealer when shit was a lot of money and a lot of guns and a lot of tension and a lot of fighting for position. the whole thing with the dealers was like, we don't smile because I never want anybody to think that I'm soft. So then they're also like, we don't really dance like that. Like, because we don't want people to think we're freaking weak. And I think that notion transferred over. Some people, a lot of people, received the idea that it's not masculine to dance. Not in some extra way.
It's not even so much that it's not. I don't think it has to do with with masculinity as it much goes to with gangster lifestyle, thug life identity, and that's part because niggas dance and didn't think that this dancing nigga wasn't masculine. It was like this dancing nigga isn't dangerous. He's not a threat to me. So I don't like the idea of even in that world for saying that it wasn't masculine. It's like you a dancing nigga. I'm a nigga with a gun in the club. You dance while I got the gun in the club because I ain't about to be dancing with this gun in the club. My head's on a swivel. That's different. So that's about toughness and not masculinity per se, I would say.
Can't dance with the gun and might fall out.
They got the dead.
Plaxico should have been listening. I told you stop dancing in the club, nigga.
But anyways, Mari had this good question when it comes to all this. Yeah, MC Hammer was dangerous and dancing, but so then it begs the question. Mari says, so then it begs the question: is all rap hip hop? Can rap as a technique be separate from hip hop? Yes, it can. You can rap on something. You could rap and not be a part of the culture. Clearly, you could rap a verse and not be a part of culture because hip hop is a culture, and we're saying that.
Well, you're using rap here as a verb and not as a noun. Okay. You're talking about rapping.
The technique. Yeah, she said technique.
A person can be rapping over anything, and you don't need to be part of the culture. There's pro-MAGA rappers who are not part of the culture, but they are literally rapping. Okay.
Yeah. That's so yeah. That's the question. We answered the question. Is like you can be do all that. Yeah. But moving that, we broke down the superstars. Is there? Hold on, am I missing a super chat? Oh yeah, I'm missing sure. Matt Hemming came through. You know Matt Hemming comes through. In theater, the Germans called that what? Gasamat Kurzwerk, aka total work of art. The unity of elements of the performance toward a single vision. I think he's talking about the what a superstar is as far as me saying what's missing is like that album maybe. I think that's what he's referencing. Matt, send something about that if I'm actually clearing that up for you. But I do think what's missing, let's talk about that. It's like, what do you think is missing from the newer artists from being that superstar? You think it's part of exposure? You think it's the audience? You think it's them themselves and how the care and love and that they're putting into the work, or how they're being presented to the world, or all of it?
I mean, I definitely think that labels are not either big enough or powerful enough or thinking enough about marketing to really be, or thinking enough about the long term to be creating stars. I think a lot of the public thinks that it's an organic thing and you are or you aren't. And the myth of somebody just gets spotted by a professional in the industry just naturally doing their thing and poof, you were already a star, just the industry had not yet recognized you. And suddenly now the industry recognizes you and poof, you're a rapper or a singer or an actor or a model or whatever. No, you have to want to be in the industry. You have to push to be in the industry. It takes time. I don't know. There may be market forces that I'm not noticing because we may be at a weird period in the history of hip hop as far as who is here and how do you serve them and how do you get big versus how do you have the respect of the heads. That's tricky. In a world where Drake and Kendrick and Tyler are making these epic shows of themselves, Travis as well, it can be hard to create. It can be hard to keep up. Now, all that said, everybody new does have an advantage in that they are new. Long time
Yeah.
ago, Lee Cohen told me, so much of this is about what will 15, 16, 17-year-old boys say to each other. And you get no fucking cool points from walking up to your boys and being like, Jay-Z did it again. Nas did it again. Nobody lives for that. Nobody gets social credit off of that. But the kid who's the first kid in the crew to be like, yo, y'all need to fuck with Larry June. You ain't up on Larry June. You need to know about him or whoever.
Mm-hmm.
You never heard of Big X the Plug? You need to catch up.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
kid gets 2 points. So when you're new, if you can find a way to be hot, like you have the advantage of being new. So there's still space, but I feel like a lot of people are like in athletics, a lot of people are having longer careers than we've ever seen. So maybe they're eating up the space that newer people would be able to come into. Not
I
sure.
think other also entertainment. We could wrap it up here. I think, and we have a super chat, and then we out. Other entertainment too, like live streamers are people superstars. You got ISO Speed running around here, going to different countries, and thousands of kids are like following him. That guy could fill up an arena with people probably tomorrow just to dance up on stage and talk for 30 minutes. So I think, yes, I think there is that there's not that much space for people to do that, and you have to infiltrate it, and people have to allow you to infiltrate it. So it's crazy how Dochi's kind of semi-breaking there, and it's crazy how Megan got into there. Last super chat, and we got to go. Majority of today's rappers don't consider women when they make music. They make music for other niggas and rather share hookah sticks with other niggas. That's why it's a lack of dancing.
Yes. No, I think that's great. For the most part, hip hop is a conversation where men are talking to other men about things they have done with or to other men or what they think about themselves as a man. That is most of it. And
Yeah.
let me tell you something real quick. A long time ago, when I was early in my career and I was still at the Village Voice, and the Village Voice was an old school philosophical sort of newspaper where you could write like real think pieces that nobody else would ever publish. And I did a long piece building on that idea that hip hop is men talking to other men about what they do or will do with other men. And the piece was about the homosociality of hip hop and how hip hop was very much like the old Roman all male armies,
Bathhouse.
which were consisted of couples of men, because they were like, well, if you're fighting in front of your lover, you will fight to the death because you couldn't let your boyfriend see you get defeated by another man. So you'll just fight even harder than. And I'm like, hip hop was like that. And we talked a little bit about the Wu-Tang sketches and how the Wu-Tang be talking that homo social talk without even fully realizing it when they're like, I'm gonna sew up your ass and keep feeding you. So I published that, which I thought really wasn't a stretch because hip hop is very homosocial. It's mostly men talking to men. And I heard,
Define homosocial, because I don't even know that term.
hold on, I'll get that. I heard that there were a couple rappers who wanted to beat me up. And I wasn't calling anybody out. I wasn't in the article be like,
I imagine
so-and-so.
a lot of rappers would want to fight you. Coming up with shit like almost.
This specific individual is gay or or nothing like that. It was just like this whole thing. It's very homosocial. It's just the notion of not homosexual is we are having full relationships. This is just about loving the same sex community and culture intensely. So I don't even care about gay rappers, but straight rappers were loving each other in a very intense way that was very clear to me. And hip hop is very much about big boys loving other boys and talking about what you did with your niggas, your boys.
But
like,
that seems almost reverse. Like that almost seems homophobic to say that any male to male interaction or love is now gay. Like just
I didn't
because you
say
love
I
another
didn't say
male,
gay.
you are
I
gay.
didn't say gay.
No, but that
I didn't
seems.
say gay. You said gay. I specifically did not say gay. And I'm saying the intensity of the relationship among men in hip
Mm-hmm.
hop, and how hip hop is quite often a rapper talking to men about things he did with or to another man. That's homosociality. I'm not saying it's gay because
I'm gonna look
there's
up
no
homosociality
there's
on
no
my own time.
romantic love. There's no romantic love that is suggested, right? So I'm not saying you guys are gay like that. Like I'm part of you guys in that. I'm not gay, but the way that we love our niggas in a social way is very intense. Just look at it as opposed to R&B, which is very
Mm-hmm.
much yin and yang, men and women in conversation with each other. The
Mm-hmm.
guys, when I was coming up, used to say hip hop is the first sort of music that was created by Black people, which is not built for men and women to be dancing together. And by the 90s, we got more melodic and we got more combination. The culture
Mm-hmm.
congealed and it was more.
Shifted.
But like the first 15 years of recorded hip hop, we were like, this shit, you know that men and women dance together. You go to clubs and be like a bunch of dudes dancing together and a bunch of chicks dancing together because it's
Wait,
like,
you're saying that the inception of hip hop at these parties, there's no women at these parties where they're rocking the mic and saying to the hip hop, the ones and the twos and threes and fours. You got the fives and the sixes and sevens and eights.
I didn't say no. I
Lot of
said
Dottie.
that a lot of the music was not created to facilitate men and women dancing. A lot of those parties where guys were getting on the mic, I mean, DJs were. I was talking about the recorded music era. Now you're talking about the park era, and like yes, we might play a dance song and men and women are dancing together, right? And then a guy gets on the mic. So now we're doing hip hop, and people turn to face the rapper and watch him do his thing or her do their thing. So we're not dancing now, we're watching, because the whole thing was look at me, what I can do. We're but you're talking about the park era. That's a little bit different. And it's not that there were no women there, but I do think that those were probably.
I wasn't there. You was there, so I'm asking you.
I wasn't there. I'm not old enough to be in the park era, but I have
What?
talked to people about the park era. I was born 1971, so I was not in Boston. I was not going to any of those parties as a 7, 8, 9-year-old.
When did you move to New York?
I moved to
What year?
New York in 92.
Oh, okay. So you was in the golden era of hip hop in New York.
Yeah, I mean, like I was fully a hip hop fan and aware of everything going on, everything moving from 79. The first time I heard Rapper's Delight, I'm like, that's my tribe. That's where I'm. But I'm just saying, R&B has been about fomenting love and romantic congress.
Yeah. Well,
Hip hop has not been about that.
I feel that we could maybe even go more into that, but next week we're gonna try to talk about some albums. We're gonna close this off right now. I want to talk about Supreme Clientele. I think you wanted to talk about a Biggie album. I think Mari just said something, and I want to talk about this album because I don't think it gets talked about enough. I want to talk about Jay-Z and Kanye's album. Like Watch the Throne. I would love to just break that down live with you guys on next week. So we want to really talk about some albums and music next week, new and old. So we will be back next week. Tomorrow we're dropping a video to let you guys know the documentary video essay that we're working on. So we're gonna get to that, and I gotta go read this whole script because this nigga wrote 50,000 words. I'm tired of this man. So, and I gotta edit it. So you ain't gotta do nothing. I gotta do all the work.
Edit it. There's no editing. You just add to it.
No, I'm talking about edit the video.
That's true. Yes.
But yeah, this is coming though. We're so tune in tomorrow. I'm gonna put the video up now. So we'll see y'all. We gotta go. 3 p.m. Thanks for joining us.
Peace.
We out. Scoop.